Thank you for watching the Pcounter Biometric Integration recorded webinar delivered by Altman Integrated Technologies. The session is going to start by talking about what we mean by biometrics generally and also biometric ID management databases. We're then going to cover the relationship with Pcounter and print and copy environments and move to specifics which include pool printing and photocopier integration. We'll summarise at the end, and we hope that there is an opportunity for you to give our solutions team a call or email on the details below to talk about this subject further in terms of your organisation. So starting with biometrics generally, biometrics consists of methods for uniquely recognising humans based upon one or more intrinsic physical or behavioural traits. Physiological ones are related to the shape of the body, and examples include, but not limited to, face recognition, DNA, palm print, hand geometry, iris recognition, and things like odour and scent. Behavioural are related to the behaviour of a person, and examples here include, but again not limited to, typing rhythm, gait and voice. For the purposes of what we're talking about though, we're talking about fingerprint recognition. Biometric ID integration is an opportunity for all those customers with Pcounter already, so there's about 1,500 in the schools area, as well as those looking at a complete new print and copy management solution. What it refers to is a central identity management database for all applications. The schematic gives ideas about which applications can be used to integrate with the database and include things like e-registration, library, cashless catering, access control and print and copy management. Usually the database will synchronize with the Management Information System, the MIS, so that users are already in the ID management database, and we can also configure that so that it can push or pull information to Active Directory fields to put information in those fields that might be required for some applications. Users enrol once. After the initial installation with the school, there will be an enrolment process. A biometric template will be taken from each student or user, and this is used to identify that person in all the systems that are supported by the biometric authentication. It's a measurement taken from a person and obviously uniquely identifies that individual. The chance of a false acceptance is absolutely minuscule. The architecture means that the application is independent, so applications that use the biometric database are not installed on that master biometric server and therefore do not write back to it. They simply synchronize from it. There is no requirement to replace lost or damaged cards, thereby saving time overall in many ways and helping to keep the costs down. There is also reduced opportunity for bullying and theft. Students must be physically present to pay for meals, release print copy jobs, access buildings, lockers, etc. So that helps to improve security as well. Fingerprint scans equate to data being stored in algorithmic format. The capture of an individual's biometric scan is never stored in a database or digital file. So when a finger is scanned, the image is converted into a mathematical algorithm known as a template, and the template records certain features or points of the finger surface, and it cannot be converted back into the original image, and only the template is ever stored in a database. Schools have systems already and procedures in place to protect the personal information they hold on pupils. All biometric data captured would be the property of the school and would only be stored on a secure environment within the school. So biometric data is pretty much classified as personal information under the Data Protection Act and must be treated in exactly the same way as other personal data. In this controlled environment, the security and privacy of an individual can be assured. The solutions we offer meet these compliance requirements, and it's also worth noting that the amount of data recorded in the template is totally inadequate for forensic purposes. It's not admissible in court as evidence for the purposes of identifying an individual at the moment. So once students, staff, parents are aware of the above, then there should be no concerns. But there is usually a requirement for an opt-out process for those that want or may need it. So you might think it's just biometric ID that's stored in the ID manager, but it's also methods of other methods of ID which are shown on screen, things like PIN number, card number, and Pcounter can also use the Active Directory username and password as well for authentication in most cases. Therefore, operationally, there are no disadvantages of biometrics when compared to other systems like swipe cards and PIN numbers, because there's always an opt-out option. We're going to look now at where biometrics fits into the technology scope around Pcounter. The core product is server-based and delivers accounting, reporting, rules, messaging, free quota, chargeback client billing, charging guest users, and also the ability to track printing done from local printers. The add-ons based around Pcounter Pro include the ability to release jobs securely or provide pull printing, which we'll come on to, and track photocopier activity. And it's the authentication before a user does this which we're referring to, and that's how it fits into the technology scope. Other areas of the scope include more advanced reporting and cashier modules, where you're taking money over the counter from guest users in perhaps library environments, e-payments integrations, kiosks and payment systems. We've also got the ability to allow users to send jobs into Pcounter from any mobile device, and have other areas that help integration with print rooms as well. So if you're an organisation with a print room, then we can usually provide an electronic ticket submission and accounting solution for the work done in that room. It integrates with the Pcounter database. So why do we want to integrate biometrics at all? Well, the main reason is that it supports the drive to reduce costs by enabling more printing to take place on lower cost devices. We'll come on to this shortly, but that's usually the main objective of organisations. One way to do that is using the standard rules that come with Pcounter, which can pick up on the type of document being printed, or whether what the byte size is, the number of pages, how many copies there are, whether it's colour or not, and what the cost is. We can also then migrate the job based on the type of document being printed. In this case, we're looking at PPT, which is a PowerPoint document. Once you've chosen the criteria for the rule, you just need to set the action to redirect it to a different print queue, and we can also set a customized message that goes back to the user to tell them what's happened to their job. Another way to drive volume to lower cost devices is to advise users of the cost of the print job before they actually send it. We can also advise staff to select a department code and charge back to the department, so they still get the benefits of the message at the top of the job telling them how many pages it is, what the cost is, but also they're able to choose the department, so that we're accounting for printing and copying against department code and against the user. Recommendations for organisations usually centre around rationalising the number of devices and consolidating them. It's good practice. Replace them with less but better quality using new technology, multifunction devices or multifunction printers, MFDs, MFPs. It's usually win-win. It's faster, better quality and lower cost for everybody that's involved. However, we do see some issues arising. One of those is waste. We're printing more to the devices, therefore there's more unclaimed jobs. We're distancing users from devices, therefore the convenience can be an issue as well. And because we're distancing users, then jobs are more likely to be left at the device, which can be a security issue with unclaimed confidential jobs hanging around at the printer. Whereas before we might have had separate copy accounting system, we've now got one device doing print and copy, but two different systems potentially, which can lead to loopholes in the print and copy management policy. We're going to move on now to the specifics of what we call pull printing, or you might hear it termed as follow me. This is where a user sends the job into the cloud, and it's not until they actually want to collect the job that they go to the device where they want to pull it down to, and they authenticate themselves, then they choose the job they want, and the job is sent to the printer and it's released. They can go up to any device that's a member of that follow me or pull printing queue on the campus or in the organisation and pull that job down. There are actually 4 methods to deliver this, and we're going to cover those in the next couple of slides. 2 of those methods only allow you to do pull printing. So one of those is called Pcounter Station, where software is installed on a workstation. Users can select jobs to release from the workstation screen. The other option is to connect a biometric reader to the network and when a user presents their finger, all jobs waiting for them in the queue are sent down to the device that they're standing next to. Both of these options work with any network printers, very fast to release jobs, provide jobs and printing confidentially, and also allow users to collect jobs from any device that's a member of that Follow Me queue. It's low cost, easy to install and use. There are, however, two other solutions which are used when we actually want to integrate with a multifunction device that does copy activity as well. Option 1 is embedded software. This is where the manufacturer's device actually has an operating system which allows us to install a small Pcounter software client onto the device. Option 2 is where we attach a touchpad terminal to the vending port at the back of a photocopier. Users could log in using their finger on either of these devices, and then once they're logged in, then they can see on the colour touchscreen displays any jobs that are waiting for them, select the ones they want and release them. Also, any photocopying they do can be accounted for under their account, and if they're a member of staff, they'll also be prompted for their client code or department code at that time. There are usually backup or opt-out options for authentication, so where we're using biometrics as the primary method, we might be using Active Directory username and password for those users that are unable or unwilling to log in using their finger. All the major manufacturers are supported with both of these methods, and we'd be happy to discuss that in more detail with you in relation to your organisation. Here's a quick high-level overview of the biometrics. A user presents their finger at the device, and that request is then sent over the network to the biometric server, which looks that user up and passes an identification to the Pcounter server. The Pcounter server can then log the user in on the multifunction device or the touchpad terminal over the network. They will then be able to release their print jobs or carry out copy activity. If you're using embedded software as well, we can also pre-populate things like the email send to address. The final thing in the overview is the need for enrolment stations. So these are network connected computers with USB fingerprint scanners on them. You have an enrolment process where users go up to these devices and they enroll themselves into the biometric ID database. So in summary then, what we're saying is that we can provide biometrics integration with all network print environments, including Citrix environments as well. It's highly configurable with modular implementation, so you can start with a base Pcounter solution or add bits on as you go along. For example, you might add pull printing on but without biometrics initially, and then add biometrics on at a later date, or you can do it all in a big bang approach. We integrate with the major third-party biometric ID management database suppliers to the schools and academies marketplace. When we're using this solution, what it does is guarantees the security and confidentiality of output, because users are actually at the printer when at the time of release. We also increase productivity and promote flexible working. Users are able to go to a printer when it's convenient or when there's no queue, or they can go to a different printer if one is out of action. What we find is that releasing jobs at the device has a great saving in itself. We expect that approximately 1 in 5 jobs is not required when it comes down to it, therefore that is a 20% saving. We also have now got a central system for print and copy accounting, which in itself can lead to dramatic cost savings for the organisation. It's very future-proof in that it will work with all your printers now and in the future. Hopefully you found the short session interesting, and would welcome the opportunity to discuss requirements with you about biometrics in your specific organisation with the manufacturer or manufacturers that are a specific integration to you. We'd also be able to discuss the proposal and provide pricing and talk about the implementation process for it. If you would like a demonstration, that's also something we can arrange at our offices in Leeds, or discuss your demonstration requirements separately to that. If you're a channel partner, then we'd welcome the opportunity to discuss this further with you and how it could help some of your customers, and if you haven't joined the partner program yet, there's an opportunity to do that. The details are on screen of how to contact us. Thank you for listening, and we hope to speak to you again in the near future.